Welcome to lesson 2.1. What we're going to be learning about today is DOM manipulation. And I know what you're thinking. You're saying, hey, are we going to mess with that guy from Fast and Furious, Vin Diesel guy, the characters? No, that's a different DOM, and we won't mess with him. I'm scared of him. What we're messing with today is the document object model of HTML pages, the DOM. Now, that's really fancy, and I'm going to kind of briefly kind of say what it is, but then I'll kind of translate it into my own words. So the DOM stands for Document Object Model, which is that a document can be broken down into a bunch of objects, basically. And if you want to manipulate them using JavaScript, what you would do is say, like, okay, I'm going to mess with this like image element, or I'm going to mess with this paragraph element. These are all objects that you can manipulate. They're all part of the document, the HTML document. We can have a whole lecture on this, but let's leave it at that. So when I say DOM manipulation, just think of it this way. What we're going to do is take our HTML document and we're going to be manipulating objects on it, or like the elements you see on the page. And when I say manipulate, I just mean you're going to see changes occur on the page. Because like you've seen, basically all we've done so far is we've had static pages that like look one way. Like remember the Space Jam website? Just kind of looks like Space Jam. What modern websites do is that when you click things, like things might appear on the screen, like something might pop up, maybe some words change, maybe it says like password not right. That means the document is changing, and that's all done through JavaScript. So that's our intro, and just to break it down one last time, we're going to learn how to change things on the screen using JavaScript. All right, so let me just give you a broad overview of what the goal is today. We have this thing, this application that we're going to build, which just gives you a deep thought and a picture of the person who said the deep thought of the day. Because, sometimes you're just like, you're in need of inspiration. And we're going to give people this application where they can click to have a quote from Einstein, James Baldwin, or Beyonce. Depending on how they feel, they can choose which one. And it will give them a quote from that person and the picture of the person who said it. All right, so that's it. We're going to click it. Quote appears, picture appears. Click this, right? And that's the idea. So first, let's just take a quick look at how this HTML is kind of structured. Is that you'll see here that we have two divs. One is for the quote and one is for the picture, and then we have our three buttons over here. Now, what I'm going to do first is we're going to add an event listener for each one of these buttons, right? We just want to do what we did before, is that we just want to like make a reference to it in JavaScript and make it clickable, and when we click it, maybe we'll console log I've been clicked. So let's quickly just do that to get it going. So our three IDs are Einstein, Baldwin, and Beyonce. Now please ignore this. This will come in later. These are just the quotes we're going to use. I didn't want you to have to go and find them yourselves. So starting over here on line 9, I'm going to say, let Einstein button equal document.query selector, and then we're going to do Einstein. All right. Now, I'm going to be super lazy here, guys. I'm just going to copy this 3 times. We're going to do 3 of them. So we're going to create our 3 references. So we have our Einstein button. We'll have our Baldwin button. And we'll have our Beyonce button. Beyonce. Now, I think the IDs are Baldwin, and Beyonce. And let me just make sure I'm referencing these correctly. So I'm going to go back to my index and let's see here. Yes, Einstein, Baldwin, Beyonce. Those are our 3 different quotes. Our 3 different buttons. All right, the next part of this is to then add the event listeners to these, right? Make them clickable, right? These are the references. Now let's go like this. Einstein button dot add. Man, I love just pressing tab. That makes life so much easier. We're going to make it so when you click, we're going to run this function that does the following: console.log clicked Einstein button. Okay. Now, just to test to make sure that's okay, let's just go here. Great, that's working. And I'm just going to quickly just copy and paste this 2 times now. And let's do this and this. Let's change this to Baldwin button. And this is going to say, click Baldwin button. And then let's change this to Beyonce button. And we click the Beyonce button. And let's just make sure all our buttons are working now. So I'm going to go around and click these. Let's move my face over to the top. All right, so if I go down here, Einstein, Baldwin, Beyonce, Baldwin, Beyonce, Einstein. Great. So this is looking really good. Our buttons are now clickable. The next part of this is where we start doing the DOM manipulation. Obviously, nothing has been changed on the screen. And instead of just manipulating, like adding, toggling classes, which is what we've been doing, like adding styles, we're actually going to change like the HTML that you see on the document. So what I want to do is first start with the quotes, and then we'll move on to images. So you'll see over here, inside of this quote container, that relates to this right here where it says quote. And you'll notice that it says here we have an H1 element that says quote. That's going to stay the same. But here you have this empty P tag where there's nothing in between. All right? And that's where we're going to put our quote. All right? There's nothing there. Now, just to be clear, I want to show you what we're going to be doing is messing with the inner HTML. The inner HTML of a tag is what you see between those two tags. So the inner between here, the opening tag, and the closing tag, this is what we call the inner HTML. And what we're going to do is change the inner HTML, right, what's between the tags, to be whatever we want. So right now there's nothing. That's why we see no quote. If I put quote here, like your mom is great. That's by Siegel. I do say that. And she is. Because she made you. There's our little affirmation today. So you see, this is the inner HTML. I just manipulated it. But what I want to manipulate, I don't want to just type it in. I want to have it done through JavaScript. So once again, let's rerun this. When I click the Einstein button, I want there to be an Einstein quote. When I click the Baldwin button, Baldwin quote, Beyonce, Beyonce quote. All right, so let's try this again. So for the Einstein one, here's how we're going to do it. On top, we're going to create a reference to right here where it says quote. All right, because what we're going to be doing is putting some HTML inside of this P tag, so I need to reference it. So I'm going to go here on the top. I'm going to say this. Let quote, let's just call it quote, equal document dot query select, query, jumped the gun on that, selector, and that one was just quote. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take my quote. All right. Remember, that's this whole, that's right here. That's empty right now. That's just the P tag that you can't see because there's nothing there. And what I'm going to do is going to change the inner HTML. Now, just to show you a basic version of this, is what I'm going to just do is, hey, and just to kind of walk you through what this line of code is doing, it's saying take that quote, that P tag, remember I'm referencing this right here, take what's that P tag and go to the inner HTML and set it equal to whatever I want. So now check this out. If I press Einstein, hey, it pops up. Pretty cool, right? Now I do want an Einstein quote, so you'll see that I actually can give you one right here. So just take this and put that in between there. So in quotes, we're going to change it to our actual quote here. Actually, let's look at it piece over here. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Great quote. Something to think about. If you're really kind of like me and kind of like you kind of creeped out that there's no quotations around it, you can add these things called backticks. They're right at the front of on top of your tab button. And here, let me just do this. This is just for people who are like OCD about this, or who are just like very particular about things looking right. But you see now that looks better, right? So now the quotes. So you can use a different kind of quote. It's called a backtick if you need to have the quotes there. I'm not going to do that. We're just going to live with the regular one. Oops. Bye. Oh no. Can I not go forward? Okay, whatever. We'll be okay. All right. And what I'm going to do is just going to copy and paste this twice, because really what I'm going to be doing for all of these buttons, I'm going to be changing the quote. So I'm going to be doing that for James Baldwin. Let's get the James Baldwin one. Put that over here. And let's get the Beyonce quote. And let's put that right over here. So for each one of these, nothing changes, right? It's always going to be quote.innerHTML I'm always going to be changing the same inner HTML. So let's press run. Check this out. Actually, run it over here. Einstein, boom, Baldwin. I imagine one of the reasons people cling to their hate so stubbornly is because they sense once hate is gone, they'll be forced to deal with their pain. Beyonce, when you love to accept yourself, when you know who really cares about you, and when you learn from your mistakes, then you can stop caring about what people who don't know you think. Beyonce. So our quote, right now this is great. Our buttons are working. Now, would it be cool if we could just like add an image here too? Well, yes, we can. Remember, with DOM manipulation, you can really manipulate anything. You can inject into that inner HTML whatever you please. So if you notice here, we have this div over here where we're going to put the picture. So remember, you see where it says H1 picture? That's that. And then underneath this, we have this empty div. There's no inner HTML again, where we can put a picture. So check this out. We're going to once again make a reference. It has an ID of picture. Say let picture equal document dot query. It's not query command enabled. And we're going to say hashtag picture. Now this time, for each of the buttons, I'm also going to have a picture appear. So not only is the quote going to appear, but I'm going to have a picture of that person appear. So we're going to say picture.inner HTML equal. All right, and this is where, once again, you should really use backticks here. Don't use quotations. It'll kind of make life a little harder. The backticks are right next to the one button. They're above the tab. We're going to just put that there. I just like using it in these cases. And we're going to put an image tag here. Image src equals. Now we'll use the quotes and close the tag. So what we're really going to be doing is going to that picture, going to the inner HTML. So once again, we're going to go right here. And when we press the button, it's going to inject an image there. Now we just need to add that source in. So let's find a picture of Einstein first. Albert Einstein. Okay. The classic right here. Let's go copy image address. Okay. Boom. We'll put that in here. All right, we'll go to the next one, which is James Baldwin. Baldwin. Great. Classic. Let's grab this. Okay. Oh, sorry. Maybe I should copy this first. So once again, all the buttons are doing the same thing. So I'm just going to copy it over to the next one as well. And let's put in a new source for this. So copy image address. Okay. Let's just change the source. Be very careful. Make sure you're doing it inside of those quotes. Okay. And let's copy this over for the third one. I'll go right here. And let's look at Beyonce. She always classic. Actually, I feel like this is more classic Beyonce. Okay, copy image address. And let's change that over here. Delete this source and put that there. All right, hopefully this works. Let's see if we get a working site now. So I'm going to go here. All right, first one. All right, picture works. A little bit big. Let's reload that and try that again. Baldwin. A little bit big. Let's try the last one, Beyonce. Now these pictures are too big, right? So the last thing I'm going to do is just going to go to Style, and let's just set the, we're going to say this, IMG. We're going to set the width to 100%. So that should make our lives a little bit better. Einstein, oh my gosh. Let's do width 300 pixels. Would that make you happy? All right, let's try that again. All right. Einstein, Baldwin, Beyonce. I kind of don't like that that's too big, but you know what? I'll let you fix that if you're feeling particular about that. But now we have 3 working buttons. We have our inspirational quotes, and we have manipulated the DOM to include not only pictures, not only just words, but pictures as well. So now this should unlock your imaginations. You could make it so when you click things, basically you could change the document to be whatever you want. The HTML document, the DOM. Peace out, Vin Diesels. Bye.